Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Let's take a look at the headlines. Proportional representation and tax collections, two issues tackled at the national debate. Government put measures in place to ensure bail is not granted a second time for the same offence. And municipal police officers and daily paid workers in the local government corporations to get back pay. Thank you for joining us. Proportional representation to taxes collected at the local government level. These were just some of the issues tackled head-on during the televised local government debate. Representatives from 4 of the major political parties stood in front of a live television audience to give answers within a matter of seconds as to how their party would deal with these issues if elected.
The local government elections national televised debate saw party representatives focus on how delivery to the people should be done at the municipal level. Senior party representatives for 4 main political parties went head-to-head under the guidance of moderator veteran journalist Wesley Gibbons, who also put forward the questions to the representatives. 60 seconds were given to each representative to provide an opening statement, while 90 seconds were allotted to answer questions posed by the moderator. Participating debaters were then asked to respond to their competitors within 30 seconds. In their opening statement prior to the debate, participants shared their party's focus for this year's local government campaign.
We believe, therefore, that citizen participation in decisions that govern the outcomes in their communities must in fact be encouraged. And we intend to do just that. We believe that at the heart of good local government and good governance is the way we bring into the stream of decision-making the views of all citizens. And we intend to do this by building stronger councils, by giving them the financial, the material, the human, and other resources that will allow them to deliver in a more timely, efficient, and effective manner.
We intend to restructure the system to give these corporations the executive authority that they need, the autonomy that they require, and a secure source of funding so that they can deliver goods and services promptly and efficiently.
We are clear that the MSJ is the only party in Trinidad and Tobago at this time which can in fact move us forward over the next 50 years and transform Trinidad and Tobago in the way that it needs to be transformed.
We are here to take Trinidad and Tobago through what we call the birth pangs of a new political era.
We have been able to practice good governance in terms of respecting the rule of law and adhering to the Constitution in terms of calling elections as one primary example.
From taxes collected at a municipal level to reform of the local government structure, questions called on parties to give their perspective on how they intend to deal with these matters if elected.
People in this country are willing to pay. People know they have to contribute, and they're willing to pay fair taxes in terms of their buildings and properties. Yes, we agree that these taxes should be given to local government corporations so that they can engage in local economic development and provide better quality services.
We are looking at the possibility of local government having the same kind of statutory arrangement as perhaps the THA, where there's a standard set of criteria, objective criteria established beforehand, which determines how much resources are allocated to a particular corporation at any point in time.
If there's any corporation that would collect land and building taxes in excess of its requirements, that is an administrative matter that can be dealt with by the Ministry of Finance.
Through the Infrastructure Development Fund and the PSIP Fund, those two, $541 million have been targeted for the local government corporations apart from the recurrent expenses.
If you are talking in terms of reform, then you must of necessity go to a taxation process which is better able to be of substance to the corporations.
However, the matter of proportional representation at local government level was raised. This prompted many to call for powers based within central government to be removed and given to corporations, thereby ensuring accountability and transparency. One key point was made that while this is desired, the corporations currently have members of civil society sitting on key policy-making boards.
The political parties can have an opportunity to invite all the men from the business community so that interests of the business community can be served, and we intend to do that. You see, people voted for change, and the change they voted for was a change in which they will have a greater say, a greater opportunity to participate. As I said, we are living in a different society, a society in which people do not want to be silent spectators to what is happening, but they want to be part and parcel of the outcomes that take place in their communities, and we intend to fulfill that.
As far as the MSJ is concerned, for us, it is a question of dialogue and discussion. It's a question of identifying clearly which system of proportional representation you want to talk about and which house you want to apply it to.
We need to educate the people of Trinidad and Tobago. We need to engage them in discussion. Get them to understand that if we are going with proportional representation, you will no longer have constituency representatives in the traditional sense of the word. Get that conversation going and then take it from there.
Thank you, Mr. M.
Proportional representation per se is not a problem with the ILP. However, we are acutely aware that proportional representation in a multi-ethnic society such as ours can have very acrimonious implications.
We have placed on our list of aldermen who are capable of representing different interests, including the business interests or agriculture or social interests and so on. And we intend to use those aldermen to continue the conversation and develop consensus with all of these groups and to bring them in the domain of local government.
While this is the third national televised debate, it's the aim of the Debate Commission to stimulate discussion on issues of national importance for citizens to make an informed decision regarding their representation at government level. Kimberam Kalawan, News 4.
When we come back, municipal police officers and daily paid government workers to receive their back pay. Stay with us. Criminals will now think twice about becoming a repeat offender, as the government will put measures in place to ensure bail is not granted a second time for the same offense.
The government has put forth several proposed amendments to aid in the criminal justice system in this country. On Thursday, during the post-cabinet news briefing, the Honourable Attorney General listed the amendments that would be brought to the Parliament. He also revealed that steps would be taken to address the Administration of Justice Act that was passed in the Parliament in 2011 and which seeks to abolish preliminary inquiries.
It is felt that the law is somewhat convoluted and impractical, as a result of which I have retained the services of Ms. Dana Sitahal, Senior Counsel, former independent senator and president of the Law Association, to do a redraft of that bill in conjunction with the Chief Parliamentary Counsel's office. We intend to adopt a more simple and effective model which has been utilized in Antigua, and we will build on their experience to have a more effective model. That will, of course, lead to the obvious repealing of the old law which was passed, which contained the controversial Section 34 clause. This bill will be targeting a simple, effective administration of criminal matters in conjunction with the new criminal procedure rules of court, which were recently laid in the Parliament after over a decade of work on it, and after a lot of work by the Rules Committee, headed by the Honourable Chief Justice, of which I am a member.
Among the specific amendments the government is proposing is an alternative method to the way in which ID parades are conducted.
Too many cases are lost in the court or create viable defenses when the police officers, mock up or make a mistake on the ID parade. So rather than leave it to discretion, we will create a conduct for ID parades, and we will have, a video identification as well. In addition to simply looking at the person, you can look at a video, you can have photographs, and you can have also identification in a public place. These methods already exist in other countries, and it is time that we provide alternative methods, because citizens are sometimes wary of going into the police station, having to confront the person and point them out face-to-face.
Secondly is the method used to receive statements from suspects, which are then offered as evidence in criminal matters.
Too many suspects in court claim that the police beat them or that their statements were given under duress, so that the confession in court becomes an issue. And sometimes you have to have a trial within a trial of voir dire to determine whether or not the confession is admissible. And all of this could be avoided by simply videotaping the confession in the police station.
Vulnerable witnesses are also expected to benefit from the government's proposed amendments in an effort to better ensure their safety and protection.
The idea is that children or persons with special needs, whether they're differently abled, non-English speaking, or whether there's a fear of harm or reprisal, in such cases, we would provide for them to give their evidence via video link, live video link, pre-recorded video testimony, or alternatively have special courts with protective screens that are one-way so that the witness cannot be seen by the accused, and the witness can be cross-examined and give their evidence in chief without being physically exposed to the defendant and or persons who may sit in the public gallery who may be members of the gang to which the defendant belongs, or indeed of which the defendant himself leads.
The Attorney General also noted the success of the plea bargaining system that is used in the United States of America, which he says is yet to provide the same results in Trinidad and Tobago.
It is my intention to have stakeholder consultation on this very important matter with the relevant offices such as DPP, the Criminal Bar Association, the Honorable Chief Justice, and all other stakeholders, so that we can come up with a formula for plea bargaining that is workable, practical, and very simple and effective.
The Honourable Attorney General explained that the proposals would be sent to the opposition for consideration. He also said he and his government were open to suggestions and continued collaboration in the fight against crime. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Municipal police officers and daily paid workers in the local government corporations will be seeing Christmas early with back pay in the bank and improved health benefits. Vasant Bharath, Trade Minister and Acting Finance Minister, made the announcements of the two notes approved by the Cabinet at the post-Cabinet News Conference at the office of the Prime Minister, St. Clair.
The first note dealt with increased allowances for the municipal police officers at the 14 regional corporations. Minister Bharath said the policy has been in the past that municipal officers are paid 60% of the increase that was agreed upon for officers in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, TTPS.
And it's customary for revised rates of housing, meal and other allowances for such officers to be determined after agreement has been reached between the Chief Personnel Officer and the association representing officers of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service on the revised rates of allowances for police officers.
He said some $2.4 million will be expended for the period January 1st, 2008 to December 31st, 2010, within an additional annual recurrent expenditure of $800,000.
The decision of Cabinet, therefore, was that house and meal allowances payable to eligible municipal police officers in the various corporations be increased on the existing basis, i.e. 60% of the increase agreed upon for the officers of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, with effect from January 1st, 2008 to the rates set out. And that 2, the existing plainclothes and proficiency allowances applicable to the eligible municipal police officers in the various corporations be increased, again with effect from January 2008, and these rates are set out.
Minister Bharath said the existing plainclothes and proficiency allowances applicable to eligible municipal police officers will be increased with effect from January 2008, and some of these increases include, for example, increases to meal allowances from $300 to $345 a month from January 1st, 2008 to December 31st, 2009, and then to $360 a month from January 1st, 2010.
The policy has been in the past that the municipal police officers are paid 60% of the increase agreed upon for officers of the police of Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. account being taken of the different circumstances, of course, under which both groups of officers are required to discharge their duties.
With respect to the second cabinet note, Minister Barth said it dealt with proposed revisions for the health plan for daily paid rated employees in the central government, the regional corporations, the Tobago House of Assembly, and other statutory authorities where the chief personnel officer was deemed the employer. Minister Barth said subsequent to negotiations concluded by the CPO and the Police Service Association for renewed terms and conditions for monthly paid workers, it was agreed that a Memorandum of Understanding MOU will be signed by parties for family coverage, an increase in death and disability benefits from $20,000 to $50,000, and a change in the contribution ratio from 50 to 50 to 60 to 40, with government shouldering the larger percent. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
Sport is up right after the break. Stay with us. Minister of Sport, the Honourable Anil Roberts, is extending condolences to the family and friends of former National Olympic weightlifter Brandon Bailey. Mr. Bailey passed away on Wednesday at age 81.
Bailey saw his greatest level of success while competing for Trinidad and Tobago, mainly in the 60s. He won gold at the Central American and Caribbean Games in 1962, silver and bronze at the Pan American Games in 1963 and 67 respectively, and 2 bronze at the Commonwealth Games in 1962 and 1966. He also represented Trinidad and Tobago at the 1964 Tokyo Olympics, where he placed 20th in his weight category. During his heyday, Mr. Bailey was ranked 5th in the world in heavyweight class division, 2nd in the Commonwealth and 1st in the region. Bailey at one time held the CAC Games record in the press and still currently holds the national records in the press, snatch and clean and jerk. To this day, he is still regarded by many as the most accomplished heavyweight weightlifter in Trinidad and Tobago. Following his retirement from the sport, Bailey continued to contribute towards society by becoming a physical education teacher at the Five Rivers Junior Secondary School. Gregory McBurney, News 4 Sports.
News 4 continues after the break. Stay with us. The residents of Calcutta Freeport will soon have a long-awaited new pavilion in the area, which they will use for sporting and community activities.
In 16 weeks' time, the Couva Tabaki Talparo Regional Corporation will hand over a new Calcutta pavilion to the residents of the area. On Tuesday, the Regional Corporation, in collaboration with the project manager, the Rural Development Company of Trinidad and Tobago, hosted a sod-turning ceremony at the Calcutta Recreation Ground in Freeport. The current pavilion poses a threat to the safety of users and may be seen as a hindrance to many of the community activities that can take place at the venue. This structure will be dismantled, and in its place will be the new pavilion, seating as many as 200 persons and equipped with a meeting room, washroom facilities, storage space and a kitchenette at a cost of $2.2 million. Chairman of the Regional Corporation, Dave Basad, said the project was one that was decided upon 2 years ago.
This pavilion became possible only because we had $11.5 million in unspent balances for the previous fiscal year. And this is one of the projects that we earmarked that would take precedent in our allocation of monies for the $2.5 million. And Anil Baliram was very instrumental in that, together with the Minister of Local Government, Minister Rambachan. And the entire council, in fact, supported that initiative that we should have this pavilion. So it came from the money of the Couva Tabaki Talparo Regional Corporation. And it's the Couva Tabaki Talparo Regional Corporation who in fact mandated the RDC to construct this pavilion.
The construction of the pavilion, which will be undertaken by a local contractor of the area, Amco Weld Engineering Services Limited, falls under one of the government's programs, which is to upgrade the infrastructure and community facilities throughout the country. The Calcutta Sports Club would be one of the greatest beneficiaries of the new pavilion, and it took the opportunity to distribute tokens of appreciation to key persons who were instrumental in the coming about of the project. The Honourable Minister of Local Government recognized the achievements of the club and congratulated them on their progress in sports.
Calcutta Sports Club, you have been promoted to the First Division champions in cricket, and the National Cricket Board of Trinidad and Tobago told you that this ground has to be upgraded to meet that status, if I'm correct. And therefore, I commend you, I congratulate you, and I know we will continue to get national heroes and national West Indies and national cricketers from this region as we did in the past.
The Honourable Minister gave the assurance that her ministry and the government by extension would continue to work with the corporation and residents to further develop the facility. RDC, established in 2005 as a special-purpose state enterprise to assist the government in implementing and accelerating its development program, is currently managing the construction of 13 pavilions in central and northeast Trinidad for the Ministry of Local Government, 8 of which fall within the Couva-Tabaqui-Talparo area. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Thank you for joining us.